Hey everyone, Rho here. Before we begin today, I just wanted to say I hope you guys across the pond had yourselves a great Thanksgiving. And in the spirit of thanks, I'd just like to say a big thank you to everyone for your continued support of the channel. I know I say it at the end of every video, but for the people that don't stick around right till the end, I'm saying it again today. Talking the hobby we all love with you guys is just something I absolutely love, so huge thank you as always. And with that said, on to today. Today we're discussing Guilliman's hidden secret of the Imperium Secundus, as we ask if it could be celebrated rather than shamed. General spoiler warning to begin, as the events we are discussing today are from across the Warhammer 40k universe, so you have been warned. But with that said, let's just jump straight in. Now last week we discussed a theory twist that the Emperor allowed or planned for Cadia to fall, a necessary sacrifice to gain a chance of ultimate victory. And like I said in that upload, that was originally supposed to be a larger conversation on a bunch of possible twists to the expected future narrative. But as always, when I get thinking about things, I always end up diving in and getting engrossed in each idea. So today we're discussing another of those original theory twist ideas. This one revolving around the unremembered empire. Now, as we know, during the days of the heresy, Ultramar on the far galactic east was cut off from the Emperor's light and the throne world by the galaxy-spanning ruin storm, drawn up by the gods of chaos. Their attempts at cutting off the Imperium's defences and leaving Terra hopelessly outnumbered. Now, it was during this time that Roboute Guilliman devised the idea of founding a new Imperium. His intentions in this are believed to be pure, not simply seizing the opportunity to proclaim himself the new Emperor. Instead, it came from a genuine fear Terra had already fallen, and that somehow, some way, he wanted to keep his father's dream alive. And as such, Macragge was to be the new throne world of the Second Imperium, aka the Imperium Secundus. Now, this wasn't exactly smooth sailing for Guilliman, as we know, his brother Lion L. Johnson arriving to judge Roboute on his possible heresy. And though their interaction came a hair's breadth of yet another war, ultimately the two found common ground against the forces of the Night Haunter. And as such, when their brother Sanguinius arrived with his legion, the Lion and Guilliman united in proclaiming him the new Emperor. Now, had Terra truly fallen, then this move by Guilliman would probably have been a good idea. But as it was, the truth was eventually unveiled that their father still lived, that Terra still stood strong. The undeniable fact was, the Imperium Secundus had been nothing but a heresy. In a desperate attempt to save their father, the three brothers abandoned Macragge and raced for Terra. All talk of the Imperium Secundus was consigned to history, a dark secret, forever unspoken. And for a long time that seemed exactly how it would remain, though I'm personally hoping for some form of interaction between the Emperor and Sanguinius before the end. However, regardless of that, it now appears this long-kept secret may just be about to be exposed, with a book being found within Guilliman's locked library, detailing its entire history. Probably should have burnt that one, Roboute. But it's with this possibility It's expected, or at least the logical assumption is, this will prove to be a very bad thing for Guilliman. He's already having to deal with a very politically charged and untrusting climate, at least in regards to the fellow power brokers within the Imperium. I mean, he's already had to put down one High Lord revolt, and seen plenty of objections and accusations thrown his way in his remoulding of Ultramar, enforcing control to be given back to the Astartes. His Astartes. I think we'll definitely have to have a discussion about whether or not he's making the same mistakes of his past. But with all that in mind, having a hidden history exposed now, that you tried to found your own Imperium, well, yeah, you can see why things are about to go from bad to worse. However, could there just be a twist to this narrative, and that this unremembered empire could be celebrated instead? Now obviously this goes without saying that it's incredibly unlikely. The divide between those loyal to Guilliman and those wary of him seems to be growing bigger by the day, and his rather unorthodox actions certainly aren't making things any easier, such as alliances with Eldari Xenos. But there's one thing that is undeniable when it comes to Guilliman, and that is of course that he is a son of the Emperor. A son of the God Emperor. And as such, the reverence and worship of Guilliman in which he is held is widespread across the entire Imperium. To the everyday people of the Imperium, he is a living, breathing demigod, and as such carries all the divinity of his father. Even those in power that oppose his actions find themselves unable to oppose his divinity. The supposed unreligious beings such as his sons gaze at the Primarch in a way that his sons of the Crusade and Heresy would never. Even one such as Marnius Calgar finds himself checking himself for his reverence. So could this revelation, rather than break the divide, somehow heal it? Could this underlying current of worship be further fired by the revelation of the Imperium Secundus? Well, the Imperium, as we know, is in a worse state since the Siege of Terra itself. Demons themselves are running amok in system after system. To the average people, it seems the very embodiment of evil has risen. And still, with so many worlds cut off and lost amidst the carnage, it could well be assumed the Emperor has abandoned them. The Imperium has abandoned them. Yet what light is there amid this darkness? Well, the returned sun, of course. His Indomitus crusade has crashed across the stars, throwing back the tides of darkness in world after world, bringing back faith and light to the people of mankind. So how would you react when all hope seemed lost, that your god and your empire had abandoned you, only to be saved by the returned demigod himself? And then you find out that not only did he once have his own Imperium, but he is doing so again. Would you fear it? Would you deride it? Or would you see this new Imperium as the only hope against the dark? That the Imperium that abandoned you was broken, and this new Imperium is the hope that's needed, and that Guilliman is maybe merely the God Emperor himself reborn anew. The people of the Imperium are constantly surrounded by darkness. There's a reason it's called the Grim Dark after all. and as such they cling on to any light or hope that they can. It wouldn't take much to turn the desired effect of deriding Guilliman for his own Imperium to embracing it. Far from seeing Guilliman as trying to replace the Emperor, could perhaps they see Guilliman as the Emperor reborn anew, or as the son of the god that he is, remaking a bright and hopeful Imperium from the broken down carcass it had become. A rebirth of that mythical Great Crusade. When you look at it from that angle, you could certainly understand it, and that could go doubly for the people of Ultramar, Guilliman's own domain and seat of power. Why would they worship a far-flung, unknown throne world when you were once one yourself? Again, I know we're talking unlikely theory territory here, but you could certainly understand it spreading like wildfire from Macragge, throughout the rest of Ultramar at the very least. For all the intents of warning the people of the Imperium of Guilliman's actions, it could instead unexpectedly turn them into even more fervent followers. For all the talk of the average people of the Imperium, perhaps the more interesting question is on Guilliman's own sons. In my opinion, the stark reality of the Imperium Secundus should be enough to shake the core of even the most ardent Guilliman follower. While of course they may not revolt or rise up against him, I do feel they'd be very confused by the Primarch's ancient actions and want to hear his explanation. But given Guilliman's current actions in reclaiming Astarte's control of the 500 worlds, and the rather strong backing he's received from his sons in the matter, could the revelation of Imperium Secundus instead be celebrated by them? That seeing the logic in Guilliman's actions now, his desire to rebuild the Imperium as it should be, in taking back power from the corrupt and disloyal bureaucrats, could the revelation of a former Imperium merely be seen as something that's needed now? Combine the misgivings of the Imperium they have known with the reverence in which they have held their father. Again, it'd be very easy to understand why the sons of Guilliman could call for the Imperium Secundus to be declared again. That they would celebrate it rather than deride it. As no doubt appalled as Guilliman would be, just what would he do in that situation? Would he try to stamp out this wildfire from spreading? Or in seeing how bitter and broken this Imperium has become, would the next logical step of reforming Ultramar back into what it once was simply be declaring it the Imperium as it should be? Sounds a lot like the Imperium Secundus to me. As always guys, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Again, we're just talking possible twists to the narrative here. By far the more expected outcome for me is the revelation of the unremembered Empire to cause Guilliman major problems. Especially when it could very well be said he's doing the same thing now. And man, I'm looking forward to reading that if it develops. But having loyal followers embracing the idea of a new Imperium as the cure for the broken one it's become, now that's a real interesting theory to think about. There's no doubt about that. So what do you think if Guilliman's secret dark past does come out? Will it be nigh on civil war as we know it? Or perhaps could it lead down an unexpected path? As always guys, leave your thoughts in the comments below. I love to read them. Huge thank you to all my subscribers. Your support truly means a lot to me. It really does. And if you're new, please consider dropping a like and subscribe to help the channel grow. But with that said, I am off and I'll see you all again real soon.